What happens when the world's funniest cartoon stops being funny and shows us the pain instead? For over 30 years, The Simpsons has made millions of people laugh with silly comedy, pop culture jokes, and the crazy life of America's most famous cartoon family. But hidden under the jokes and yellow skin is something much deeper. Real emotional pain, sharp satire, and scenes that left viewers completely speechless. We're not talking about the usual pranks and jokes. We're talking about episodes where characters lose their hope, question who they are, or even think about ending everything. These moments aren't just dark for a cartoon, but they're dark for TV in general. So today we're diving into the darkest episodes of The Simpsons that went too far. The ones that left emotional wounds on both the characters and the audience. And the episode at the top, it's about one of the show's tragic characters, and it ends in a way no one expected. Let's begin. Some people are just born unlucky. Frank Grimes was one of them, a man who clawed his way through life, abandoned as a child, struck by lightning, forced to work through school without help or support. Frank did everything right. And when he finally landed a job at the Springfield nuclear plant, he thought his struggles might finally be over. Then he met Homer Simpson. Frank was meticulous, hard-working, intelligent. Meanwhile, Homer was Homer. Lazy, reckless, and somehow always rewarded for it. Promotions, praise, even a loving family, all without trying. Frank watched as everything he'd worked for slipped out of reach, while Homer stumbled upward like some kind of cosmic joke. The show slowly unravels Frank's psyche. His growing obsession with Homer's absurd luck becomes tragic, then unsettling. And in a twisted climax, he snaps completely, mocking Homer's incompetence, storming around the plant, and accidentally electrocuting himself to death. At his funeral, Homer snores through the service, and that's the joke. But the real punchline? There isn't one. Just a quiet truth that success doesn't always come to those who deserve it, and life doesn't care how hard you try. Frank Grimes wasn't just a character. He was a mirror, reflecting every bitter truth about effort, fairness, and blind luck. And that's only the beginning. What would you do for $5? For Bart Simpson, the answer was easy: sell his soul. In what starts as a harmless prank, Bart writes Bart Simpson's soul on a scrap of paper and sells it to Milhouse for $5. But the joke quickly fades as eerie things start happening. Automatic doors won't open for him. Animals act strange, he can't laugh, not even at Itchy and Scratchy. And then comes the nightmare. Bart dreams he's trapped in a cold, gray world. His friends and family laugh and play, but he's alone, invisible, empty. It's a chilling visual metaphor for spiritual loss, identity, and the terrifying thought that something essential inside him is just gone. What makes this episode so unsettling is that it never gives us a clear answer. Did Bart really lose his soul? Or was it guilt, fear, and imagination playing tricks on him? We never find out. Even when Lisa gives him back the paper, the uncertainty lingers. He eats it to reclaim his soul, but by then, we're already haunted. It's a rare case of The Simpsons exploring metaphysical horror, using a child's prank to ask massive existential questions. Who are we without a soul? And can something that intangible really be taken away? This episode doesn't just flirt with darkness, it dives in head first. In only the third episode of the entire series, The Simpsons gave us a glimpse of just how raw and unfiltered the show could be. Homer's odyssey opens with public humiliation. Homer causes a nuclear meltdown scare in front of Bart's class during a field trip. Embarrassed and defeated, he's promptly fired from the plant. Then the spiral begins. Homer falls into a pit of despair. He starts drinking heavily. The house becomes chaotic. And eventually, he writes a note and heads out with the intention of ending it all. Yes, cartoon Homer, with his goofy voice and donut obsession, nearly offed himself just 3 episodes in. He stopped only when his family, including baby Maggie, intercepts him on a bridge. In a jarring scene, they find him right before he jumps, and Bart even slides down his legs to hold onto him. It's intense, emotional, and wildly out of step with what most viewers expect from a primetime cartoon. But the story doesn't end with a clean redemption. Homer reinvents himself as a public safety crusader, only to immediately sell out and go back to work for Mr. Burns when offered a steady paycheck. The message? Even your principles can be bought when survival is on the line. It's dark, it's cynical, and it reminds us that The Simpsons wasn't always about laughs. Sometimes it was about truth, ugly, uncomfortable corporate truth. And it was just getting started. Some pain doesn't come from violence or death, and it comes from the look on your mother's face when she realizes she doesn't know you anymore. In Marge Be Not Proud, Bart gets caught shoplifting a video game. Classic Bart mischief, right? But what follows isn't punishment. It's something far worse: emotional distance. Marge isn't angry, she's heartbroken. She begins to pull away, treating Bart like he's no longer her little boy. The bedtime rituals stop, the warmth disappears, and for the first time, Bart feels truly alone. The twist? The entire story is told from his perspective. We see everything through Bart's confused, guilt-ridden eyes. We feel the sting of Marge's coldness. Her voice, usually so nurturing, becomes quiet and formal. And Bart, a kid who's used to pushing boundaries, realizes he may have crossed one he can't undo. Even the guest character, security guard Don Brodka, adds to the discomfort. His interrogation of Bart is aggressive, his tone threatening. He's not a comic relief. He's a reminder that the world can be harsh and unforgiving, even for kids. And while the episode ends with a tearful reconciliation, the emotional damage feels real. For one brief moment, The Simpsons strips away the laughs and shows what it's like to feel unloved, even when you're just a kid who made a mistake. Sibling rivalry is one thing, total psychological breakdown, that's another. In My Sister, My Sitter, Lisa is given the chance to prove she's responsible by babysitting Bart and Maggie. It sounds harmless, but from the moment their parents leave, the night spirals into a dark, chaotic mess. Bart refuses to accept Lisa's authority. He mocks her, sabotages her, and eventually gets himself seriously injured. Lisa, desperate to fix everything and terrified of losing her newfound adult credibility, does something horrifying. She wheels Bart's unconscious body, along with Maggie in a cage, through the worst part of town, in the middle of the night. Her eyes are wide, she's sweating, panicking, falling apart. And for what? To protect a fragile image of maturity that, in reality, no one ever truly respected in the first place. The episode is a disturbing deep dive into childhood pressure, how kids are expected to act like adults, take responsibility, and hold it together, even when everything is crumbling. Lisa, usually composed and confident, is stripped down to a frightened child, barely holding it together with shaking hands. And the moment she falls into the river, dragging both siblings with her, it hits. This isn't funny, it's terrifying. The Simpsons has always explored childhood with brutal honesty. But this one, it reminds us that being the good kid can sometimes be the hardest role of all. What do you get when you mix a stalker, blood-written letters, and a child in danger? One of the most disturbing, and yet somehow hilarious episodes in The Simpsons catalog. In Cape Fear, Sideshow Bob is released from prison and immediately resumes his favorite hobby, plotting Bart's murder. This time, he's not messing around. He's training. He's tattooing death threats. He's mailing letters written in his own blood. Let that sink in. A grown man is obsessively hunting down a 10-year-old boy. The Simpsons enter witness protection, change their names to the Thompsons, and relocate to Terror Lake, which of course is about as safe as it sounds. But Sideshow Bob follows them, hiding under their car the entire trip like a horror movie villain, clinging to the undercarriage. And when night falls, he strikes. Bob sneaks onto their houseboat, armed with a weapon and a twisted smile. Bart, who knows what's coming, pleads for time by asking Bob to sing the entire score of HMS Pinafore. It's brilliant, absurd, and terrifying. The tension doesn't disappear just because we're laughing. In fact, the contrast makes it worse, because deep down we know what Bob wants. This episode walks a razor-thin line between satire and genuine horror, and it nails it. The laughs are real, but so is the fear. And when a cartoon has you clutching the edge of your seat over a child murderer with a show tune obsession, something's gone too far in the best way. Maude Flanders didn't just die. She was taken out by a t-shirt cannon. Let that sink in. In Alone Again, Natra Diddley, Ned Flanders' wife, the sweet, soft-spoken Maude, is killed in one of the most abrupt and senseless moments in Simpsons history. At a NASCAR event, Homer's antics cause a barrage of t-shirts to be launched at the stands, and Maude, standing at the edge, is knocked to her death. It's absurd, it's cartoonish, and yet it's horrifying. The show doesn't give viewers time to process. There's no warning. One second she's alive, the next, Ned is a widower. And the worst part? The Reverend's eulogy doesn't even try to honor her. He practically says she was a background character in everyone else's story, and it's meta, it's cold, and it cuts deep. Ned, the most devout and innocent character on the show, begins to unravel. For a moment, he even questions his faith. The show quickly walks that back. God always forgives, right? But that flicker of doubt? That's real. That's pain. Maude's death wasn't just a plot twist, it was a turning point. Not just for Ned, but for the viewers who realized The Simpsons wasn't afraid to kill off major characters with zero warning. And the show never really filled that void. Maude's absence lingered, like a ghost behind every Flanders scene. One moment, she was just a quiet background presence. And then, just like that, she was gone. Homer Simpson has never had a strong grasp on his family history. But in Mother Simpson, he learned something no one expected. His mother is alive. It starts with a lie. Homer fakes his own death to skip out on community service, but while trying to clear things up, he finds someone unexpected at his own grave. Mona Simpson, the mother he believed was dead for decades. At first, there's joy. Mona is warm, intelligent, rebellious. Everything Homer isn't and everything he clearly craved as a kid. But as the episode unfolds, so does the truth. Mona didn't die. She ran. A flashback reveals that she went on the run after sabotaging one of Mr. Burns' germ warfare labs in the 60s. Her crime? Standing up for justice. But instead of staying to explain, she left Homer behind. And Abe, his father, told him she had died. It's one of the most emotionally layered episodes in the series. On the surface, there's humor, hippie jokes, flower power flashbacks, even a jab at the post office. But beneath that is something raw. A man reconnecting with the parent who abandoned him and realizing he never really got to be a child. Homer doesn't rage. He doesn't even cry. He just listens. And then, just as quickly as she returned, Mona disappears again, forced to flee once more to avoid arrest. The final scene? Homer sitting silently on his car, staring up at the stars. No music, no punchline, just the sound of the wind and a man trying to make peace with a lifetime of silence. It's not just one of the darkest episodes. It's one of the most quietly devastating. Lisa has always been the overachiever, the moral compass, the quiet genius in a house full of chaos. But the secret war of Lisa Simpson strips away all that confidence and shows us what happens when a child is thrown into a world designed to crush her spirit. It begins with Bart, as usual, getting in trouble. But instead of the usual slap on the wrist, he's enrolled in military school. And Lisa, believing she can improve herself in a real challenge, voluntarily joins him. It's a mistake. From the moment she arrives, Lisa is an outsider. She's mocked, harassed, and left completely isolated. Her intelligence, normally her superpower, becomes a target. The other cadets aren't impressed by grades. They respect strength, aggression, obedience. Lisa has none of it, and she suffers. In one especially heartbreaking scene, Lisa lies in bed crying, listening to a cassette of her mother singing her to sleep. It's not a gag. It's not played for laughs. It's a lonely little girl trying to survive a world that wasn't built for her and doesn't want her. The message here isn't subtle. Institutions, especially harsh, traditional ones, aren't interested in individuality or brilliance. They want compliance. And even Bart, usually the screw-up, sees it. He stands up for Lisa, proving that even the show's biggest troublemaker has more empathy than the system itself. By the end, Lisa survives. She finishes the grueling obstacle course. She earns respect, but at what cost? This isn't just a story about military school. It's about how the world grinds down kids who dare to be different. And Lisa, she almost didn't make it. Fame can be addicting, but when it fades, what's left behind can be terrifying. In Hello Gutter, Hello Fatter, Homer bowls a perfect game and becomes an overnight celebrity. For a brief moment, he's adored, applauded, recognized by name. It's everything Homer ever wanted, until it's not. Because just as quickly as the spotlight finds him, it moves on. Homer doesn't fade gracefully. He crashes hard. He tries to chase the fame, appearing on talk shows, clinging to any shred of attention. But it's gone. No one cares. And instead of processing that like a mature adult, Homer reaches a chilling conclusion. His life peaked, and now it's over. So he climbs to the top of a building and prepares to jump. Let's pause there. This is a prime-time cartoon, and we're watching its main character walk to the edge of a skyscraper, ready to end it all, and because he feels irrelevant. That's not satire, that's real. And it's presented with such casual darkness that it almost slips by unnoticed. But for anyone who's ever dealt with depression or the fear of insignificance, the message hits hard. Homer is saved. Not by therapy or realization, but by the sound of his baby daughter laughing. And just like that, he finds a new obsession, bonding with Maggie. It's a feel-good ending, sure. But the path to get there? It's one of the most unsettling stories the show ever told. Because sometimes the darkest moments aren't when the villain shows up. They're when the main character looks in the mirror and sees nothing. For a cartoon known for donuts and catchphrases, The Simpsons sure spent a lot of time digging into trauma, isolation, abandonment, and death. And maybe that's what's always made it brilliant. It didn't need gore or jump scares to get dark. It just held a mirror to the pain of real life and painted it yellow. From kids trying to earn love they already deserve, to adults buckling under failure and regret, these episodes remind us that laughter and darkness aren't opposites, they're neighbors. So, which episode hit you the hardest? Was it Frank Grimes unraveling in the face of injustice? Bart losing his soul? Lisa crying herself to sleep? Let us know in the comments. And if you think The Simpsons went too far, maybe it just told the truth too well. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more dark dives into pop culture, and ring that notification bell. And most importantly, stay wicked.